Hey everyone, today's overview and review video is on Viticulture World and Wine Crate. So if you're new to the channel, this is Two Sheep, One Meat. My name is Krissy. If there's a game that you'd like to see on the channel, please let me know what that is down in the comments below. And of course, just to push the video through YouTube, like this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel. And something recent that we've added to the channel is memberships. So if you like the content that you see, maybe take a look over there. And a big thank you to all the members who have already joined us. So this game, Viticulture World and the Wine Crate, two are what's going to be reviewed at the end of the video as well, because this was sent to me from Stonemaier Games, so thank you to them so that I could review it for everybody. So this game is a very similar theme to the regular Viticulture, but it doesn't play exactly the same. You still need Viticulture, the base game, to be able to play this. So if you want to know how to play that, I can link that up here in the corner, and I can also put it down in the description below in case you wanted to watch it after watching this video. So some things are the same, some things are different. Now this is kind of a complete different game. So it is cooperative, and you're trying to meet the goal together. There's a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different continents that you can play this game, and it just kind of makes it a different game every single time that you play. So I'll go over kind of like a setup for a continent. So you're gonna have to pick a continent, and then you're gonna have to do a little bit of setup for that. And then I'll go over the components that are a little bit different within this one than the regular Viticulture. So let's just go ahead and jump into that. So the first thing that you need to do with this game is you're going to need to pick a continent to play with. I have picked Asia. Basically all of them are going to play very similar. They're just going to be a different gameplay because they are different continents. So I'll go through how to do these a little bit later on in the video. I just want to kind of go through a bit of setup here. So this will be in setup, but I just want to explain some of the spots and everything on the board first so that we can understand what's actually happening with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that right there. So now the board is a little bit different. It is double-sided depending if you want to play with the Tuscany expansion, which are these buildings right here, and this associated extension of a board. So depending on which one that you want to play with, whether you want to play with that or not, it is double-sided, which is nice. So the locations on the board, so now there is just summer and there is winter, and they are all associated with a letter, because we have these new innovation tiles right here, and they are basically a new spot on the board. You can pay $4 to get an innovation tile, so you can do the rectangle or you can do the oval here. So basically whenever you buy them, these oval ones can go on any spot that you want, but these ones are basically just an upgraded benefit, something better of a benefit that you're going to place out onto the board, and they all have the letter associated with it, so that one would go there if you were to pay for it. So that's what those are. It's just upgrading the spots on the board. And then with this one, you actually only go through 6 years. It is a timed game. You only get 6 years to do what you need to do. So to win the game, you need every single player who is playing, you need to get 25 victory points, and you need to get the influence marker here all the way up to 10 as well by the end of the 6th year. So if you're able to complete both of those, because this is a cooperative game, then you win the game. If you can't, then you either win together or you fail together. So that is also something new on here. Then for player setup, just a little bit different. We all have seasonal workers here. So we have winter seasonal workers, and we also have summer seasonal workers. And of course, with this one, we always start the game with 2 of each, and we start the game with our grande worker. The same thing as in Viticulture, we do start with these cards here, now formerly called Mama and Papa's, but now they are just called blue and red cards. And something that Stonemaier has done was just add a little bit more of inclusiveness with this one. So we have the option now for 2 mamas and 2 papas, which is fantastic. So these are the cards that you start with. And like I was saying, this game, because it's still using all of the components, all the cards and everything from the base game Viticulture, we actually always start with this game with 4 workers. We start with the cards. And then, of course, we can either start with these ones down here, and we always start with our grande worker as well. So things are still the same, just a little bit different. We always start with 4 seasonal workers. And then so with this one, whenever you're training a worker, you're not training a new worker to be able to have more workers on the board. You're training them so that they are just a worker. They're no longer a seasonal worker. You can place them anywhere on the board, wherever you want. So that was setup and things that are different on the board. So now we can go ahead and pick up Asia here, and we can go ahead and start setting up the game to play with the Asia deck. So there are 2 cards at the top, and these are just going to go over the little bit of a blurb for what is happening and just kind of setting the tone for the game. And then we have setups and rules, because each continent are going to have their own rules and their own way of setting up the game. So Asia here, Asia says, vines have been growing in Asia for thousands of years, but most grapes have been eaten as fresh fruit or dried, becoming an invaluable ingredient in Asian cuisine. So that's what that says. So now we know a little bit more about the game. It's setting the tone for it, and then we can go ahead and do setup and rules here. So with Asia, there are 2 different decks. We get to remove the white bordered upgrade cards from the deck, and that's going to be kept face down near the side of the game. And then we're going to find upgrade card number 1 just right away. That's what we're going to do. And so this one here, it says, we're going to cover the rightmost rectangle and oval innovation spots in spring. These spots will not be used this game. So that basically just covers this spot right here. And so usually you do set up 4, but now we're only just going to have these 2 right here. Then it says whenever an event card is instructing you to take an upgrade card from the white bordered ones here, then you're just going to search through it, you're going to find the number that it's asking you to, and you're going to face it up to cover the corresponding spot wherever it is on the board. So then these cards go right here, and then these we are done now with. There is actually down at the bottom a new icon, so this is going to age 2 grapes once each, or age 1 grape twice. So that is the rules for playing with Asia in Viticulture World. So now you can place these aside. So in spring, again, marked number 1, we're going to flip the first one here. So this one here is called New Latitude Wines. So every one of these cards are going to give a little bit of a blurb, again, a little bit more of a background of what is going on. So this one, viticulture in Asia, marks a revolutionary step in wine production by making fine wine close to the equator. By operating at 13 degrees latitude north, these wines proudly forge the way for new latitude wines. So this one here is basically saying, place the event token on action E. So this one comes with this bell, and it's just to make sure that once you go onto this spot, whenever you're visiting there, that you are reminded that there is a card out there that's going to do something when you do that. So this one says, in a 2 to 3 player game, you need 2 players, and in a 4 to 6 player game, you're going to need 4 players. So I have 2 players set up, so let's just go ahead and say that one. So if at least 2 players give a tour this year via the action E, cover the year-end checklist with upgrade card number 1, and you're going to gain 1 influence. So basically with this deck, Asia, I'm going to flip this over. Let's just say we've moved on a little bit and we've placed our workers there and we've given 2 different tours. So now you're going to go through here, you're going to find the 4th card here, and as soon as you do it, that's when it's going to take effect. So you get to flip it over, and this is year-end checklist. So just like the base game, you have a checklist at the end of every year that you get to retrieve your workers, you get to age your grapes or your wines, and then you get to discard. So typically in the game, you discard down to 7 cards. This one starts at 5 cards, and now since, you know, we have given a tour, we've gotten this end of year checklist upgraded, so now we can keep 7 cards in our hand. And something with this game, because it is cooperative, you can keep your cards secretive, or you can face them up if you choose to. So there's different ways to play this game too. And with this one, your residual income is actually now ×2. So if you get any of your wines completed, then you'll be able to gain double the amount of where your wine bottle is for your residual income. So once that's been flipped over, then you go on to placing your new tiles here, or if you're going into the 2nd year, then these would come off if they weren't used, and they get to replenish so that you're able to go through all of them, because there is quite a bit. So once that's done, then you go to choose spring. So you're going to choose your wake up time. You can choose all of these different options here. There are green cards, which are the vines. Then there is just straight up a victory point if you wanted that. You can get blue cards, which are the visitor cards. You can gain an extra worker, a yellow card, which is a summer visitor. You can gain $2, or a purple card, which is a wine card, or a wine order card. You can choose the spot that you want to wake up in, and that is going to choose the wake up order. So in this case, orange player would go first. Now, same thing with viticulture. You're going to be placing out your workers 1 by 1. The only difference with this one is you can only place your summer workers out until you move on to the winter, and you're able to train them at a cost of 4. So now the spots here are something similar. You don't get a bonus whenever you're playing the card. just like in viticulture. So in this one, in this case, you would place out a worker. It would go in the first spot. Now, for 2 to 3 players, that's the only spot that's available. If you're playing 4 to 6 players, then the second spot is available to play in. The bonus or an effect down here in the oval, that takes effect whenever you're placing one of the innovation tiles on it. So if you were to place that here, anything with a red circle is going to cost extra. So it's going to cost you $4 to buy this anyway, but if you wanted to place it down on here or on this one, or these two over here, it's going to cost you an extra $2, so the tile would actually cost you $6. But there are other ones on the board that will give you a benefit or an effect, and this one here, in this case, it is every player, because it has the icon here for it, would get 1 victory point each if we were able to place this down here. So whatever you're placing down is the effect that you're going to be getting or the cost that you need to pay. So typically, you can place your grande worker in the second most spot. That would be a way to be able to collect the bonus or the benefit from that location for a second time. Now with these innovation tiles being placed out, you can actually place as many workers as you want on there, and it doesn't have to be the grande worker. Now if you wanted the benefit that is on here, which is aging one of your wines, if you had one in your cellar, the way to get those is only by trained workers. So if you trained a worker, the hats just come off and you would be able to place that there and you would be able to age one of your wines. Then once all of your summer workers are out that you wanted to, that is whenever you're able to pass the next time, and you can go on into the fall bonus, which you would just place your rooster in the center here and gain one of these benefits. So $2, any card, or aging one of your grapes. So if you place it in, you can take any of these cards, and again, all of these cards are the same from the base game, so you can take whichever card that you chose, or the money if you chose it, or if you did have any of your grapes in crush pad here, you would be able to age them. So then once you move on, you have to wait till all of the players have passed and gone into the fall bonus here before you can move on to winter. Now winter is the same thing, only winter workers can go here. So there are a few of the spots on the boards that are different, like this one to be able to pay to gain an innovation tile, and then we have this one here, P. This one is pay $8 to gain an influence. So you could pay $8 to be able to move this, because this is really important as well, because if you're not at 10 but you are at both, as in a 2-player game, all players up at the 25 victory points here, if you're not here on the influence track, then you're not going to be able to win the game either. So that is another new spot on the board. The other ones are your regular viticulture spots. Pay to build a structure, you can draw a green card, you can play a yellow card, you can give a tour, and of course all of these player boards, they are also similar because they're the ones from the base game. So the strategy for this game for Viticulture World is basically very similar to the base game Viticulture. You're still wanting to plant, you're still wanting to harvest, you're still wanting to transfer or move over your grapes into the cellar so that you're making wine, and you're still trying to complete wine orders. It is just a little bit different. Instead of having the bonuses on the board while you're playing them, you have to pay to collect those bonuses. And of course, you're doing all of this over 6 seasons. Now, something that I've picked up with this game, a couple of tips, I suppose, is money is really important because it does cost $8 to up the influence track by 1. And obviously, completing wine orders are very important as well, but I did find it really important to, and one way to get money at the beginning is to sell your fields. Obviously just keep 1 or 2 so that you can still collect the grapes and still add them to your crush pad so you can complete those orders. So I think the strategy for this game is just a little bit different. Every single time that we've played this game, it has been a different game. There are, like I was saying, the different continents, so that it does come with an easy, but apparently that wasn't easy enough, so they came out with a easy, and it's basically kind of like a tutorial on how to do it. It explains what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then it's just giving you a really good boost. And we found that one maybe just a little bit boring because we're a board gamer, right? We're board gamers, and it was just really telling us what to do. There wasn't much strategy in that one because it was honestly just telling you what to do. It was a good way to introduce it, to figure out how you're doing the game because it is different. It's cooperative. Your goals are still technically the same, but there's they've added to it. But playing with this one, Asia, was a lot more fun because it's more player-led. and you can kind of do what you want, figure out your own routine, your own strategy for the game. We find, I say we, Nick's not even here doing the review with me, but I did find too that this game is very, very hard. So this one, 𝗎𝒑, is on easy, and we have not won any time that we've played it. Now I say we haven't won, technically it's cooperative, so you have to win together or you lose together, and I just have not been able to get to 25 points. Typically I don't usually get to 25 points either. Like, I'm not even sure if I've actually won Viticulture, just the regular Viticulture. The strategy in this one is just a lot, and I just haven't figured it out yet. But I've come way closer in Viticulture World than I ever have in just regular base Viticulture. I think, me personally, I prefer this one because I do enjoy a cooperative game. Nick and I get to talk, hey, and that's typically how I want to play anyway. Like, hey, this is what I want to do. I think it's a good idea, and I get excited because I know what I'm doing and it's a good plan, but then I tend to voice my opinion, and then Nick knows what I'm doing, so he knows to either avoid the spot or take it over because that's what I'm going to do. So I really like cooperative games because I already talk out loud about what I'm going to do, what my plans are out loud. So this one just obviously helps the gameplay that way, so that we can talk with each other and figure out what we're going to do. So hey, if I do this, then you can do that, and then you're almost getting more done. Now both players do have to reach 25 victory points, so you're still gonna have to do work. So planning is still there. Planning is still there. You still have to do it, but it is a lot of fun. I much prefer this one, if I'm going to be honest, than the regular base game. Do like that it comes with different continents, so it's like a different game every single time that you're playing. It already is a different game every single time that you play this because your strategy, you're trying something different. Whether you get the cards that you need or you don't want the cards, or you're not getting the cards that you need, you're not getting enough money, you never know how your game is going to go until you actually play it. So even with 𝗎𝒑, even if you keep playing with 𝗎𝒑, all the cards are numbered, but once you get used to it, then there is an option, because there are, I think, 2 or 3 extra cards with this deck that you can just shuffle them and use them at random. So then it's not, okay, well, I know that this card's coming up next, so we can kind of plan for it. So there's none of that. So there's even options within the different continents that you're playing. I think it's really clever too that you have seasonal workers. I know that, me personally, whenever I would play the base game for Viticulture, that I would overspend my workers in, say, summer, and I'd have 1 or 2 to use in winter, and you need, I feel like, more towards the end of the game, you're utilizing more of the winter effects, and I would always hoop myself because I would always just overuse them in summer, and I wouldn't have enough workers, or I wouldn't even train enough workers. But I actually really do like that you have seasonal workers. You have 2 for summer and 2 for winter, and the way that I found really worked is that training 2 of them, because you can still use them. The most workers that you can have are the 4 seasonal workers and your grande worker. You can't get any other ones other than getting this extra worker here. That's the only one. So I enjoyed that because I can only do 2 actions in summer, and I can only do 2 options in winter. So that helped me, especially because of AP. You're like, okay, well, now I have these 4 workers. What options can I do? Beginning of the game, you only have 2 options. So for the other continents here, there is a list in the rulebook, and it shows here the difficultness of them. So up this list gets harder and harder. So Africa is the hardest one, and 𝗎𝒑 is the easiest one. Now the one on top of that is introductory, which is Green Gully. So like I was saying, they had Green Gully come in as the introductory one, but they were saying that this is too hard, so then they came up with another one. So this one is marked with a star, and it's just a little bit of a different color. So these ones both here are Green Gully. Gives you a little bit of the information here as well, and it's just a little bit of a different introductory game. Again, see this one right here, Green Gully. So they are both the same. This one is just a little bit easier. So we have this one right here. This one is North America. It does give you a little bit more of a setup and everything. I don't want to really go through all of these in case that you want to discover them for yourself, but like I was saying, they are all somewhat the same, but all completely different because of the location that they are and everything. So North America is a difficulty of medium, and you can tell too within this list here whichever one that you want to do. If you've already done Asia, it's easy. You want to move on to Oceania, or you want to move on to South America, then you are able to do so. So these are all of them. There is a solo mode as well, which is this robot here. We don't play many solo games, so I'm not even exactly sure how this one plays. I haven't really heard anything about this one either, but Stonemaier does really make great solo games, so I would assume that this one is no different. And I guess I will touch on South America just a little bit. There was a bit of a hiccup with this one, but Stonemaier being as great as they are, they did jump on that right away and they did correct it. So whenever you get the game, there will be some, I know the first printing of this game, there will be some that need to be taken out, and there is a packet, I think it is, that you're able to get with the game so that you can exchange those out right away and you can destroy them and throw them out. And I guess one more thing that I didn't talk about this game is that there are cards, which is on the back of the rule book right here, and these ones are just not compatible with Viticulture World. So the very first time that you get the game, you can remove some of these and it'll tell you these ones are for the more visitors, this one is for the Rhine Valley, and we have the Tuscany expansion right here. So these ones are going to come out of your deck, and I have just an example right here. For the structure card, it has a black border. The regular ones do have a white border. So because the black border ones aren't compatible with Viticulture World, instead of going through the game, all of the cards, taking out the ones that you don't need, and if you want to play the regular Viticulture, then re-adding them back in, they actually just marked them with a black border. So whenever you do draw it when you're playing Viticulture World, you just discard it and you redraw, which I think is a great way, it's a great problem solving to the game so that you're not constantly going through everything and making setup longer. So I think that that was a great thing that they did. I think that was really smart, and I'm glad that they came up with that idea. And then speaking of smart, now because I did get Wine Crate as a review copy, I may as well talk about that as well. So storage for the game, I do enjoy when everything fits in one box, and that's exactly what's going on with this one. Stonemaier did post on the website, or I guess Jamie did post on the Stonemaier website, how you organize the box. So I have the box, and it is a bit of a larger box, and it does look, oh, there goes my money. So it's a bigger box, it fits everything in here, and there's room for everything too, and you can actually store sleeved cards in here too, so lots of room for everything. The cover does go right on top, so it does look like this, like at the beginning I showed you, and it's not exactly square, so the cover can only go on one way, but it is really neat. It looks like a wine crate, everything fits inside, and this is what it looks like. Everything does fit inside. It does come with all of the storage and everything. So it does come with room for this storage. Well, I guess this is the storage that it came with. So it has room for all of those. And it has, let me just put this right here. It does have room for all of the other boards that you can play with. So it has room for all of that. It's got room for the player boards. And it's got room for the cards that we don't need to play with. These are some of the white ones that we took out, and some of the extra black ones because we don't have some of the little mini expansions that it comes with. So we have room for all of the pieces, and everything does come with covers, which is really nice. So we have those. We have room for all of boards for the Tuscany expansion. All of these cards right here do go in right here. We have room for all of the money, which is where we put right here, and we have the blue and red cards, the old mom and papa cards. So again, everything has covers on it, everything fits really nice inside of the box. And we even have this one right here that you can separate a little bit more of the extra pieces, like the farmers and the stars, because you don't use those ones within this game. And everything all fits in one spot, and it looks really good on the shelf. So if you've always enjoyed viticulture, maybe take a look at this co-op version of it. And of course, if you like big boxes, then definitely take a look at Wine Crate. So that was my overview and my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time.